Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show, where I'm Andra all over social media, Facebook, X, and of course our Instagram page and YouTube. Please subscribe. We appreciate you. All right, I'll Be Sure is finally speaking out in defense of the late Kim Porter. In the wake of Diddy's arrest, Al is making it very clear that he believes Diddy, referred to as the Predator, had something to do with not only her death, but the disappearance of her computer. He also believes Kim's unsuccessful attempt to expose the truth led to Cassie's successful bravery. He said, I'm writing this post to formally request an investigation into the entire group of individuals who worked at or around the residence of Miss Kimberly Porter, including the publicist who assisted in drafting this. It has come to my attention that these persons were also instructed to steal her computer and mobile devices, which contained her original book notes. Original notes are distinct from the fabricated bullshit and offensive pages circulating via Amazon, which depict graphic sexual acts involving me that never took place and were edited and added as Miss Porter's tragic murder. Miss Porter's missing devices, allegedly already in evidence, unquestionably contain the critical evidence that has been concealed. I'm convinced that the evidence corroborates closely with the details outlined in the recently released public indictment document. It is truly disheartening to think that those she considered close friends and who were financially compensated by her perpetrator may have conspired with the perpetrator to obscure the truth and tarnish her name, my name, and her unfinished book notes with these ridiculous and unfound narratives. It says evident that her potential to expose the realities of her personal abuses, being drugged, the sex trafficking, the human trafficking she was privy to, eighth and brave actions that Miss Cassie Ventura pose a threat at those profiting from such heinous activities. In a nutshell, Kimberly was allegedly taken from us because she was on course to accomplish what Miss Cassie Ventura did by igniting the bonfire, which brings us here today with the avalanche that has brought Satan to their chamber. So he's speaking out very harshly against Diddy's, thinking that he had something to do with the death. Him and his accomplices stole her computer, because apparently there's a book coming out, and he's saying that it was coming out and the book is not true. But there actually was a book she was writing on, but it's with the computer that he believes could be in custody, or they have the evidence. Chike, do you think something will come from this?
I hope the truth comes out, whatever the truth is.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it comes out so that way we can stop talking about all this, because I'm over it. I'm done. Regardless of how you feel about the situation, the thing that keeps coming up with me, and I'm not picking any sides anywhere, but I'm tired of seeing are people that are leading the culture, that have done so much for the culture, not make it out alive or unscathed. It's depressing. Regardless if it's due to their own peril or not, it's just depressing, and I'm tired of seeing it. But whatever justice is, justice needs to be done.
Brittany?
I understand where this theory that he killed Kim came from. Like I don't understand where that conspiracy theory came from.
So let me bring you up.
Mm-hmm.
There was Andre Hurrell, who allegedly knew a lot of stuff. He's dead. Kim Porter knew a lot of things. She's dead. I'll Be Sure knows a lot of things, and he was in a coma for quite some time. So with those people, those key people, either not being here or almost not being here, they're making an assimilation that it leads back to the Diddy source.
But then I feel like there's still a lot of other people. Like there's still Misa Hilton. They're still
She hasn't.
yeah,
If you really think about it, she hasn't gotten into the fray. Only time you hear Misa Hilton is when her son is involved.
Mhm.
When her
no,
son is
yeah,
involved,
but
that's when she.
she do speak up with it. Like she has fallen out with them before on Twitter or something like that when she got into it with them. I just feel like I don't know, like Chike said, I don't know the ins and outs of everything, but he did seem genuinely hurt when Kim died, and I know like that was the person that he kind of had this toxic going back and forth with back in the for a while. So I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do think that it is sad to watch another black man fail who was such a legend during a certain period of time. And I definitely understand the impact of his actions and like what they cause and stuff like that. But I also think like, and I had to ask a girlfriend of mine, like, how is, the things he was doing any different from the brothel that Hugh Hefner had and stuff like that? And like those women where Kendra, whatever her name is, that married the football player and had them babies, where she was speaking out about parties Hef was having at the mansion and stuff like that. So I feel like I definitely understand. I don't think either one is right, but it is sad to watch another black man that has done so much for our culture as far as like just bringing hip hop forward to fall again. And I don't like watching that happen again over and over. But justice should be served for any of the victims, rightfully so. And I hope they get to the bottom of it and they find the truth out.
Yeah, I think it also it should be a cautionary tale to any celebrity or powerful person when you get a status, not thinking that you're above the law. Um, you know, there have been rumors about his actions for decades at this point. And the charges they have against him, the RICO charges, they only file those against someone when they know they have something. When they with this indictment, they have so they said they have video footage, they have a lot of things, which kind of goes to our next story because Justin Bieber he was going viral over the weekend. His father-in-law, Haley Bieber, his Stephen Baldwin, his father-in-law, he made a cryptic message on TikTok, and he said, you have heard the expression, the calm before the storm. There's always a calm before a storm, but then there's another calm after the storm. There's a calm, and then there's a storm, and then another calm. And the latter calm is the preparation for the next storm. So people were kind of confused what he was talking about because he didn't, that's all he said. But they started thinking this might have something to do with Diddy, after him being arrested. And then there was some footage that came out of old footage of Justin Bieber with Diddy. And Diddy was in a video talking about spending the entire day with Justin. He says he's having 48 hours with Diddy where we're hanging out and what we're doing we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. And then another video surfaced where he was at a party and he was with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham and someone else. And you can't really see what he was doing, but what they're saying in the video, Trey Songz gets his attention to show him that the camera's there. Justin gets up off the ground and he looks like he's just stoned. You know what I mean? People thought he was maybe about to do something oral, whatever. And then another clip came up from 2014 episode of Keeping Up the Kardashians, where Khloe was telling one of her sisters that she remembered going to a naked party hosted by Diddy, and Justin Bieber was there. He was 20 at the time. And so the reason why people were concerned about him, because, he seemed like, when he was young, singing, playing the guitar, and then he was thrown into the Diddy world as a mentor. And they'll even look at side-eyeing Usher because Usher kind of introduced that relationship. And then, Justin struggled with drugs for so long and depression and everything, and they think it has to stem from that. Candace Owens, who I'm not a big fan of, but she made a video pretty much saying the same thing. And she says she hopes that now that he's married and he has turned his life over to the Lord and things like that, that he's able to tell his truth one day. But he has not come out about all this. So what do you think about it? Because I know Usher did talk about in the interview that when he was staying with Diddy to work on music, all Diddy was doing was taking to the club and party. He said, we haven't recorded one song yet. And he said he saw a lot at such a young age. What are your thoughts on people's concern for Usher and for Justin Bieber as a result of what could have happened under Diddy's watch? Brittany.
I do think that even Charlamagne has said it on the Breakfast Club, like with the indictment and with like the FBI does not come to your door without having substantial amount of information.
Mhm.
My child's father had a whole incident with point shaving, and they wait years to build a case before they show up at your door at 5 a.m. and come and get you.
Yeah.
And you will have to serve all of that time, and you will not get off for good behavior. So I do think that whatever has been done and whatever they have is significant enough for them to make Diddy sit down. And I do think that anybody else on those tapes and those text messages and those emails will definitely be brought in with him, and that they are not playing games about any of this. And I do think that there is something where it can be like you can be too big for your britches. And I think that there was even something said where his whole issue with Ciroc is kind of what brought down the hedge of protection that was around him, and that he got to this point where he just felt like he was above everything and everybody, and he was calling people 54, 56 times, trying to badger them into
Witness tampering.
yes. And so I do think that it's going to be a lot more names being called. I don't know about Justin Bieber or Usher, but I think a lot more people are about to be brought into this.
Yeah, and that's why one of the reasons they think why he wasn't allowed to be released from bail. He tried to bail himself out. He apparently bought his home, one of his homes. He bought it, and then he went to New York because he knew the charges were probably coming. He secured $50 million for bail. He was willing to turn in his passports, him and his kids. He was willing to to um,
Submit to drug testing.
and not be around have females come to his house. But they said that he was a flight risk, and so that's why they did. But they also said because the fact that the Don Robinson from Danny Kane, she had come out saying that he had sexually assaulted her, and in 24 hours he called her 34 times. What was it, 54 times? Which she could have been a potential witness. So, Chike, what are your thoughts on that with the Justin Bieber influence?
So if you look over history, right, and you look back, now you don't even have to go that far back. If you look at, let's take Brashear Gray, for example. He was a young person that got pulled into the industry and got turned out and spit out. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that,
is that the guy from Empire?
yes,
He is doing the
when
most
you
on X.
when you do not play the game the way that they want you to play the game, then you're of no use. And again, we're going back to there's a choice. You have a choice to make. But younger people whose dream this probably is for a very long time, and they're honestly talented, and they
Mm-hmm.
have an opportunity, and you can either get with this or you can either get with that. And 9 times out of 10, someone who isn't fully developed into who they are in themselves will take the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And in these contracts that people are having you sign, there's a word inside of it called perpetuity. Perpetuity is forever.
Mm-hmm.
So you may necessarily leave that particular person, but you get passed to another person. One of the things I learned about the industry is that you become a commodity, and you
Mm-hmm.
can be sold, you can be traded, you can be bought. Your
Yep.
contract, what that is, but the contract is connected to you. So you can go in, I could come to you, Steven, and you sign me and I'm attached to you. But Brittany comes in and she has a lot more money and she likes what I have. She pays you for me and now I belong to her.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to keep you in the loop, i.e., women, drugs, uh, physical trappings, to keep you locked into that situation, to keep you so-called happy up until a certain point. You have to play the game. If you
Yeah.
don't play the game, there's consequences. And 9 times out of the consequences are you get blackballed, or they put you out there where you get strung out and then you're useless to no one.
Mhm.
We see it time and time again. And then when the people come out crying for help, they label you off as crazy. How many
Yeah.
people do you know that way? Just think about all the people that have been blackballed and they come out and they start speaking because they're angry. Oh, they're crazy. Don't listen to them. They're crazy. Remember when Mariah Carey was put into a home?
Yeah.
She was speaking out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's crazy.
Yeah. And even Michael Jackson, when he spoke out. And August Alsina, he took to social media to explain why he stepped away from the music industry because of all that goes on behind the scenes. Beyonce recently did an interview where she talked about why she doesn't do a lot of interviews and red carpets because of how hard the industry can be.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's tell our last story. So Young Dolph murder trial is currently underway in Memphis, Tennessee. The details are already jaw-dropping. Prosecutors are alleging that Dolph's murder was orchestrated by his rival, Young Gotti's older brother, Big Juke. According to Shelby County Assistant District Attorney Paul Hagerman, Big Juke, who is deceased now, reportedly put out a $100,000 hit on Young Dolph amid ongoing beef with Dolph's label, Paper Route Empire, and Young Gotti's label, CMG. Hagerman claims that the alleged shooter, Justin Johnson, his rap name is Straight Drop, sought to win favor with CMG, so he allegedly carried out the murder of Dolph for cash and recognition. So Big Juke is a person I told you about before, the numbers 2 guy at CMG. He put out a hit, and the hit was $100,000 to whoever kills Dolph. He has met with Justin Johnson. He has met with Cornelius Smith, and they think they were ready to do it. Now, Hagerman claims that Johnson is the person who pulled up on Dolph at the local cookie store and the white Mercedes-Benz and opened fire on the rapper, killing him. Now, one of the suspects, Cornelius Smith, he testified on the stand, and he said, in fact, he did kill Dolph to receive money from Big Juke. According to Fox 15 Memphis, Smith got to the stand and confessed that he and the other shooting suspect, Justin Johnson, planned to carry out the hit against Young Dolph due to the bounty Big Juke took on him. And pretty much he said at the time he really didn't care. They were gonna split the money 3 ways, but now he's coming clean because of his conscience. But very sad. They had semi-automatic weapons, and they knew he would be in the area because of a Thanksgiving event that they had every year. So these details, Chike, I mean, they thought if they killed him, it would propel their career and give them notoriety. But now one of the guys who put out the hit, he's gone. Young Dolph's gone. What are your thoughts on what we're hearing so far?
All that comes to mind, honestly, misguided human beings. I think that from very early on in their lives, they were off track, and their whole logic and thinking of how things work was skewed to an immense degree. And I do believe that some people have a warped sense of reality, and they live in that place, and it causes for them to do insane things because they believe what they're doing is right.
Right. Brittany, what are your thoughts?
I think it's sad. I was a huge fan of Dolph, and I'm a huge fan of his wife. I think they were a beautiful couple and had a beautiful family. From what I heard, the brother put the hit out on Dolph, the older brother, due to the beef that he had with Gotti. That was through diss records, and I felt like none of what was said on wax had to go into the streets like that. And then for the brother to turn around and receive retaliation, he was actually murdered at a funeral in retaliation of the Dolph hit because Memphis streets were talking. And I think that it's just families that are going to take multiple losses because people are still hurt by Dolph, that now they're saying, Angela needs to be safe around Gotti. Like, I think that it's just a mess and all over rap beef that didn't really need to go anywhere besides that. So it's very sad to listen to. I even think one of the guys said they only got $800, and that's why they were
Yeah.
telling
Mm-hmm.
that because they didn't even receive any of the money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of lives lost, even for the men that committed the murder and didn't even get to see their careers go where they thought that this would take them.
Right. Yeah. It's sad. I mean, these are young guys, you know what I mean, who didn't really, their lives are ruined. It's very sad. Very sad. Well, before we go, I do have an announcement. See my shirt I have on? Let's see. This is part
Water,
of,
what water's here.
yeah, this is part of my new t-shirt and hoodie apparel line. It's called JDK Design. And we launched a week ago. If you want to learn more about it, go to jdkdesign.shop and see if you see something you like. Just wanted to put it out there. Well, thank you all for Hot Topics. Chika, I'll see you in movie reviews and be right back after this.